All right. Think it's working. Maybe. Hello? Is anybody there? All right. So are you seeing me straight on, or are you seeing me from an angle? Okay. Stand by. I think I know what that problem is. How about now? Okay. I had a feeling that would be the case. Excuse me. Can you hear me? That's an even more important question. I do apologize. It's been about 6 years since I've done a live stream. No, I don't think it's YouTube messing it up. I'm using my cell phone camera because my onboard camera on my laptop sucks. It's really bad. Really, really bad on there. And there is a 10-second delay on the chat, just so I could read stuff as it goes ahead. I wasn't sure how this was going to go. All right, I reckon everybody's going to be here that wants to be here. So anyway, yeah, I'm back doing videos. Hopefully I can do them more often than not. I have the time now, considering I'm semi-retired. So anyway, so I just wanted to touch on a few things, and then we're going to go ahead and do the Ask Me Anything. So, of course, Wizards of the Coast. What the heck? Oh, before I get into that, let me explain a few things about YouTube that you might not know about. So, if you plan to put up a video, live stream, pre-recorded, whatever, what have you, if the video is more than 10 minutes long, it becomes monetized, whether you're monetized or not. You don't get that money. Somebody's getting the money. YouTube probably, or whatever advertiser they decide to put in there. So yeah, just be mindful of that. You know, like I said, I'm not monetized, I'm not sponsored. So yeah, this thing's gonna go longer than 10 minutes, I'm assuming. Somebody's gonna get that money and it won't be me. Also, if you plan to upload a video, another thing that got instituted last month was if you use a curse word or a certain amount of curse words or something that they find not too pleasing to whoever the powers may be, within the first 3 minutes of your video, it will be removed from all suggestions, put into a category of like 18 plus. So nobody can find it except for your subscribers. So keep that in mind also. You can start cursing after the 3 minute mark. I'd say after the 4 minute mark. So try to keep it clean. And weird word. I know you don't get any money because you curse a lot and you put the curse word in your title, Brian. Yeah, I know. All right, so Wizards of the Coast. They cannot seem to stay out of the media for some reason. I'm not going to cover the OGL stuff because we all know what a crap fest that was. Big blunder on their part. They're doing, bigger channels are doing way better than I am. Let's see, it also tags you for using tunes of phrase it cannot distinguish from political comments. Yeah, their algorithms are just horrible when it comes to censorship, Eli. But yeah, back to the Wizards of the Coast thing. So yeah, they just can't keep it out. Recently, I guess it was like 2 days ago, Kyle Brinkley executive producer of the D&D brand. You'll probably have seen the headlines about white guys can't get out of the game soon enough. There's a little bit more context to it. Um, and it just, but that's the main headline you're going to see. Nobody's really covering the full context of it. Maybe one or two bigger YouTubers are. Um, and it's odd. I find it very odd. And the reason why I find it odd is because of how I grew up. My friend Scott, he's somewhere here in the chat. I presented a question to him. Okay. I grew up in New York City and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I was always surrounded by all ethnicities. Okay. It was nothing. I'm Puerto Rican, first of all. Puerto Rican, we are a mix of Taino Indian, African, Spanish, and Italian. A lot of people don't know that, but that's what our genetic makeup is predominantly. And of course, Eastern European. Um, you can look at my kids and my mom and my grandfather. They are like white, white, white with green eyes, some of them. And that's the Spanish side and the European side. But anyway, but growing up in New York, I was surrounded by different ethnicities, different cultures, different backgrounds. To me, it's nothing to see somebody who maybe who's transgender or in the LGBT community. That's nothing. That's like normal to me. So the the quote unquote woke community, the ones that are quote unquote pushing the agenda, it's just weird to me. So I presented to Scott. I asked him, when you were growing up, how many Hispanics or blacks did you see in your community? He grew up in rural Alabama, and his answer was, well, there were a few black kids in school, but I didn't really see anybody of Hispanic origin until maybe middle school or high school. It was predominantly white. So what does that lead to? Pretty much gaming. When it comes to gaming, you are very much a product of your environment, of your upbringing. So it's just weird how with the OGL and all this other stuff with Kyle Brink saying what he said, and I didn't get to see the full like hour and a half video, so I'm not really sure what else there was. I saw a little bit of it, how Wizards of the Coast needs to right the wrongs of the past. And when I'm talking about the past, we're talking about the chainmail, Dungeons and Dragons Second Edition, Dungeons and Dragons Second, what was it? D&D Second Edition. Um, and they're changing all the words for it. Even in the Ravenloft book, or rather Curse of Strahd, they decided to go back and change that. And people are getting pissed about it. And Eli touched on this over at Elfbait. You're gonna burn your books. I keep seeing this come up in various groups I'm in, even at the game store. Or we're gonna burn our books. I mean, dude, you paid for this with your money, or somebody paid for this with their money. Burning these, it doesn't matter to WotC. They don't care. They already have their money. Will it make a big difference? Probably not. I mean, right now, maybe they get a little bit more bad publicity. They're a billion-dollar company or multi-million-dollar company. I don't know what they're worth anymore. Don't burn your books. Come on, don't be stupid. You paid. This is yours. Yours. You own this. You make your D&D the way you want your D&D to be played. You buy these. Some of these cost at a premium, especially this one, because this is apparently harder to get now. Don't burn your books. It doesn't matter. WotC already has your money. They're good. It doesn't matter if you burn this. You make D&D your own experience, and because okay, that goes back to the whole cultural background thing, like upbringing. My Ravenloft setting, in my mind, it's more of a Hispanic setting. It's occupied by Hispanics, Romanian, Eastern European, but the majority of the characters in my mind are Hispanic. Versus in your mind, depending where you grew up, Asia, Middle East, wherever, what have you, characters are more than likely, as far as you see them, the way that you were brought up, the people that you were surrounded by. So let's see. Gamer Elite did a video on this. Black experience in TTRPGs, how Black subculture shapes their participation in games more than anything. It's true. It's very true. The way you're brought up, the way you're raised, the environment that you're in, that shapes your game. You know, right now, like my, excuse me, my campaign, I was heavily influenced by H.R. Giger. You know, the guy who created Alien, from the Aliens films, or the design rather, the biomechanical. That's going to be like a major thing in my big campaign, where one of my players really has no idea what that is. But I was brought up in New York City, saw a lot of art, was given a book of Giger's art. Big influence on what I've done. So yeah, just D&D, make it your own. Don't worry about what other people are saying. I don't trust WotC at all. They're not getting any more of my money. I mean, plain and simple, they're not. If they go to when they go to one D&D or 6th edition or however you want to call it, I have these books. You have your books. Keep playing it. Just play it. Play it the way you always been. Don't worry about them. You've already paid. You don't have to support them anymore, but you've already paid for everything. Let's see. What he was saying, that is why we don't see as many black people in TTRPGs. I'm not sure about that. I'm not really sure about that, Eli. Um, I'm not really sure what that statement means. Is he saying there's not enough, there aren't many black people working in the industry or represented in the actual material? Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying. You make it your own. I see these are obviously from, well, here's a better example. With the Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragonlance. Right? Or Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen rather. These are very obviously Anglo-Saxons, white people that are represented in there as far as the art and the way things are presented, but I don't see them that way. Gamer Elite is a black gamer who spoke on the lack of black players. Again, that I was going to touch on that. Representation and people playing the game. That's a matter of your environment. When I started D&D, it was majority of us were Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Cuban, two Puerto Ricans, one Cuban, or one black guy and one Asian guy. Okay, I don't want this to sound, racist or anything, but that was the makeup of the game. We didn't have any white guys playing the game because where we lived, white people were the minority. Like seriously, even to this day, I still see white people as the minority because the environments I grew up in as a child and teenager and young adult were predominantly what other people consider the minority. Excuse me, it's RPG Elite's channel. Yeah, I really don't follow a lot of channels. Like seriously, I'm not a Uber gamer. But yeah, the representation at the game table, it's all a matter of environment. If I were to go down to Austin, it's going to be a majority of white guys playing the game, guys and girls. I say guys in general because it's just a broad thing. But when I was in Okinawa, it wasn't a lot of white guys. There were quite a few Japanese playing the game with us. So it's yeah, I can't really understand. There's no representation of it. Well, where are you living? I mean, seriously, if you live in a majority predominantly white neighborhood, you're gonna have predominantly white players. In a black neighborhood, I happen to live in a place where it's very multicultural. Like I'm on Fort Hood military base, one of the largest army bases in the world, one of the largest training centers in the world. I am surrounded. I have like at least three different ethnicities, all my neighbors. Let's see. Eli, I grew up in PNW. I still the Pacific Northwest. And we have people from all demographics playing. Yeah, see, it's again, it's just a matter of where you grew up, what the environment was. So, and I'm not saying Gamer Elite is wrong. Maybe where he lives or his experiences were like that. There was a very minority of non-white people playing the game. I mean, there's no doubt. Like I said, I could go down to Austin, ask for a game. It's going to be mostly white guys in there. Very, very few anybody else. And as far as females playing, I've every group I've been in that I've either been a player or the DM of GM in whatever game. There's always been females playing. So I'm not sure where that's coming from either. But again, it's my environment where it's like, okay, you want to play? I don't care if you're wearing a pink boa. Come play. I don't care. I just want to chuck some dice and slay some dragons and things of that nature. Excuse me. Let me get some water. Um, Trying to catch up here. Let's see. And unfortunately, it doesn't tell me how many people are here. Sorry. I think it says 4, but it doesn't tell me how many of the 4. So, yeah. Um, let's see. Again, I apologize. It's been like 6 years since I did a live chat. So shoot in questions if you want. I don't care what they are. Just state something. It's all good. Again, it's a 10-second delay. Um, and then, oh, you know what? I want to touch on something else. The GM/DM crisis that is supposedly happening. I can only speak from my point of view on this. Excuse me. So, I've been a DM of Dungeons and Dragons for, I want to say, the past 10 years. Excuse me. The reason why a lot of people don't want to be a DM anymore is because there are players out there, and we all know them, whether you play war games, tabletop RPGs, board games. There are players that know they know these books inside and out. Like they can literally recite a line, page 43, paragraph 4, line number 6 says so and so 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 so. Okay, great. You know the book. That's not how I'm running my game. But the book says the rule lawyer person, the rivet counter, the button counter. It's annoying to DMs. Like, quite honestly, I've turned away people from doing that, or I've literally kicked them from the table. Well, not physically kicked them, but literally kicked them off the table. So this is not how this game is being run. If you want to do it like that, please feel free, find somebody else, but that's not how my group runs. The article was taken from, was misquoted. The article was speaking to paid DMs in New York City. Why would you pay someone to DM? I'd love to be paid to be a DM. I've been doing this. How many minutes, man? 20 minutes now. I've been doing this shit for fucking 25 years. Running games. I've run Robotech, Rifts, Bubblegum Crisis, Mechton, D&D, like 2 versions of D&D. Excuse me. I mean, I could go on. I've got a library of over 100 different RPGs. I've never been asked to run a game for pay. Um, I have been asked. I will say this: I have been asked to work at a shop that's might be opening soon. I'm hoping, but I will be an employee that just happens to run the games, which is fine. That's cool. But I I don't understand that whole thing. Why would you pay for somebody to be your DM if you don't know what they are? Now I understand if you were a trained voice actor, like the people on Critical Role, they're paid actors. They have studied the craft. I can understand that because that is an experience. It is an immersive experience, something that you will probably not get again. But as a regular DM, I don't know. Let's see. I got paid to DM for a half a year once. It makes sense when you consider people pay for people to plan and coordinate parties. To me, there's no fun in it to pay someone to run a game. That's just me. I mean, to both points, if you're getting offered to be paid to be a DM or GM, that's saying you're doing a good job. To me, that's a big compliment. Okay. Um, but for me, I have not seen it. I run it. I've had some very successful campaigns, especially my Star Wars West End Games Edition and Vampire the Masquerade that I ran. I ran that throughout all of high school. Like I had literally 25 people in my group. To me, they're no, the people I ran were all existing players in D&D. I was asked by a store to run some. I can't read what it says. There was a market for it. Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a market for it. There obviously there is because people are getting paid for it. There's a shop here locally that does that. They pay the DM to run the game if people ask, but it's a weird setup. They like charge. I think they charge the player $5 for a seat at the table, and then of that $5, the DM. It's my friend Jonathan. He gets I think like $1.50 out of it. So I'm not sure what how that really helps him, but he's doing it. The pocket money. He's in college. He's almost graduated. At one point, I had to turn people away. Never turn anybody away. I have faith in you, Eli. You can run 10, 25 people. I've done it in a Vampire the Masquerade. That shit was crazy. It was great. And that was running 3 games a week. Like after work, straight home, shower, eat, play until like 1, 2 in the morning, go to sleep, go back to work the next day. But yeah, I'm digressing from the point. But yeah, there's players out there that just they know these games inside and out, and God bless them, bless their hearts, bless their precious little hearts. But DMs, we don't want to hear that. Like seriously, it becomes annoying. Okay, it just does. Now there's the whole subject of convince after the whole GL thing, convince players to play another game. Easier said than done. I am of an age, because I'm 47, where RPGs there were very few available at the time because it wasn't as widespread as it is now. So something new came out. Hey, you want to play a game? Sure. What is it? Robotech, for instance. Okay, yeah, we'll try that. I'm willing to play a lot of games. Nowadays, it's more like, hey, you guys want to play Cyberpunk? No. Do you want to play D&D or Pathfinder? Most of the time, you could throw a rock with the sign DM for D&D. They have like 40 people coming for you. Pathfinder, not as many. Anything else, it's impossible to find people in my area because again, it's a matter of your environment, where you're located at. Let's see. At one point, I wasn't going to run a bloated table for paying customers. The stores are willing to pay people to run games to get people playing because people who play are people who will buy. Not necessarily. Most of the time they will, but and this goes more towards the miniature war gaming community because you know you've got that table that you want to use. Yeah, they welcome you in and they hope you buy something, but buying a Coke or one pot of paint really isn't helping them out when it comes to their profit margins. No, I'm not saying always buy like an $80 book or model or anything, but yeah, it's one of those weird curves. The store made tons of cash off the guys who came in to pay for play. Again, I think that's more of the environment of where you're located at. Because in my case, old big game shop, Quantum Leap Games, had some great tables, really great tables. Unfortunately, the majority of the people who played there, oh, I'm gonna buy a 50-cent Coke, and would sit there for like hours. That's not helping, the store owner, not at all. Or they wouldn't buy their product at the store. Actually, the good majority of them that used to work there, or rather, they would play there, they bought all their stuff online because, and quite frankly, it was cheaper and the inventory was better than what was at the store. And Todd, if you're watching this, I apologize, but you know the beast of being a game store owner. Uh, I love going to the into the local store and seeing people learning about the games. I know the one I go to has people wanting to learn Warhammer. So Warhammer, that's a unique beast unto itself. Because that is, Discourse Miniatures. I know a lot of people hate her YouTube channel, but she made a point at in one of them where the name Warhammer is pretty much identified for any type of miniature war game. So, hey, I want to play Warhammer. Okay, and it's easy to find people to play Warhammer. It's easy to get people to buy into it. I want to say, but it's hard to get people to play anything other than Warhammer once they invest in Warhammer. I've got a ton of Warhammer stuff. I had to cut myself off because it got to the point where it's like, Jesus Christ, why am I spending so much money on this and I don't play it as much? Like, seriously. Rules get changed all the time. We're not going to get into their price hikes. We know they raised their prices. We know they changed the rules. Seems like almost every other month. I think everybody can agree that the sculpts are beautiful in most cases, not all. It's always art is subjective. What's beautiful to you may be trash to me. I think we can all agree on that. But, and yes, as Eli said, once you get into Warhammer, you can't afford anything else. Unless you get a 3D printer, invest. Trust me. I love my 3D printer. Um, I don't think I will ever buy anything else from Games Workshop unless it's something really special. They really aren't as standout as they once were. That's true. It's like the latest offering that they revealed. I think where was it at LVO, whatever the last convention was. Yeah, those were super lackluster. I saw nothing in there. I was like, oh, that got me excited to like get it. No, not at all. They aren't really. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, Warhammer. It's a fun game. Don't get me wrong. It's a fun game. But but honestly, let me see if I can reach it. So like this was the last thing I got. The Age of Sigmar, the one with the Cruel Boys. I can't remember what it's called. I've got the box behind me. The last thing I got. It's it's a fun system, but I honestly think the way to teach them how to play Warhammer, just stick with your core book, let them learn like that. If they enjoy it, great. Because 40K and to some extent Age of Sigmar, it's starting to get like this where you have to bring your book, 10 issues of White Dwarf. Hold on, I had to download this content here. Oh wait, I got to get that other book that just came out. You're lugging around like 60 pounds of books to play one freaking game at the store. I no, I'm not doing that. I'll stick with the core book. If anything, I'll use alternative rules. Just play something else. What were you saying here? Tons of STL makers are producing better quality minis. Yes, they are, and I don't hide the fact I have a lot of STL files. I have close to 100 gigs worth of STL files. Actually, maybe more. No way in hell I'm going to be able to print them all. But there's some beautiful stuff out there, not just for Warhammer, but also for your D&D fantasy games, cyberpunk games. There's a lot of great stuff out there. and the cost is honestly very negligible. Startup can be quite a bit. Play miniature agnostic games that let you pick what minis you want to play and express your creativity fully. Again, easier said than done, Eli. Finding people, again, this is just in my case, finding people that are willing to go outside of Warhammer, or the only other game that's really played around here is Infinity, and that's barely, it's near impossible. Where I live, like I've had some of the 5150 books. Nope, nobody wants to play 15 millimeters style games. Nope, we're okay. They want to play Warhammer because either they've fully invested in it like over decades, which I can understand. It's a military town. They've they bought their stuff. They got their stuff. But yeah, it's kind of, for me, it's super hard to find people who play anything outside of their comfort zone. Or even with role playing games, like I said before, try to do Cyberpunk. Nope, nobody wanted to do Cyberpunk. Question. Okay, let's see. Eli's got a question. Yes, feel free to throw in questions. Anybody? Do you think 3D printing will make trying out new mini games easier? No, I do not. I do not, unfortunately, because it all falls back to when it comes to miniature wargaming. It's all about that title right there, Warhammer. What it'll do is make a lot more casual competitive games, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. Casual competitive games, because now I can print out an army in about 2 days. That's just because of the settings I have. With different sculpts, all that other stuff, I can print it out, base coat it, well, prime it, base coat it, get at least 3 colors on there, ready to play within 2 days. Let's see. Nick Wolf, I agree with you. There is a shop I have bought from, free printed, that I love. I'm not sure what you mean, Nick. Are you saying that there's a shop that you purchased from? Please don't say what that shop's name is. I don't want them to get in trouble. Uh, that they 3D print your minis, or they sell 3D printed minis. Eli, I have plans to print out forces for both sides and demo at local shops. That's cool. I did a demo once of Aliens, or I'm sorry, because I think you might remember this from the 15 millimeter sci-fi page. Predator versus the Taliban. Did that once years and years and years ago with 15 millimeter Predators and Middle Eastern soldiers. Demo was awesome. Had tons of people do it. Hey guys, you think you want to start playing it? Show them the cost and everything. I'll think about it, but I've got Warhammer, so yeah, there's that. A lot of STL makers have authorized printers who sell physical models to people who don't want or have printers. Oh yeah, the commercial licenses, they're pretty okay. Let me touch on that because I was trying to start a 3D printing business myself. Um, I've had some success on it, pocket money, basically, because I'm not like a lot of, how do I say this? I don't care. I'll just say it. Most of the people in my area that 3D printed when it first started and even now, they charge a premium, what I consider a premium. I know how much. Let me see. Let me show you something. Hold on. Let me find one. Um, something. Oh crap! All this stuff is UW stuff. I'm trying to find a 3D printed mini here. Here we go. I'm not sure how well it'll show up on camera. Let me see. He's 32 millimeter. I can't remember offhand who makes this. Okay, so anyway, whoever makes it, I can't remember who they are. It's not Loot Studios. It's I can't remember who they are. I've had this for a while. But anyway, yeah, the commercial licenses are pretty negligible in price if you are producing a lot of minis. If you have a large scale mini, if you have a large scale 3D printer and can print out 40 miniatures at a time, which is the one I want for other reasons. But if you can have plenty of minis in stock, I remember what I was going to say. I apologize again. So this miniature, this is something you can easily, if somebody printed it, or I should say, if it was made in plastic, let's put it like that. You can sell this for, and I think I've seen this on Etsy actually, the same one, for about 7 to 13 bucks. This miniature cost me in time, electricity, and resin approximately 10 cents to make. This was 10 cents to make. Now, 3D printers have gotten a lot cheaper over the years. So people, they save up their money, they get their big printer, they can produce so many minis, it's ridiculous. Like you can produce a whole, again, 40K army, and in about 8 hours if you get one that, if you get your settings to where it's zero print lines. So yeah, and if you're a store, you own a 3D printer, you can print out minis quick, easy, no fuss, no muss, and make a big profit. That's just the way it is. Let's see. I'm trying to go back. Local shop here as commercial. I honestly see print to sell as a viable business model. It absolutely is. I'm trying it myself. I've got a commercial license from one place. It was like $5 a month. So I was like, okay. And I've been selling their minis on and off. Not much, but I don't charge like $7 a mini. I only charge like $2. Like seriously, $2, and you're basically paying for the and shipping and handling. That's it. Because I feel bad because I grew up broke. I know what it is. Oh, I want this mini. Like I just did an order for one guy, um, some Blood Bowl alternate moleskins, something like that. I can't remember who made them. And he was like, "Well, how much will it be?" I'm like, "Dude, just 20 bucks for the whole set. And if you want more, just let me know." Oh, can I get duplicates? And ended up being like 30 models. Like, yeah, 20 bucks. Here you go. And if you need more later, just let me know. Let's see. When printers become more plug and pay, the business model of the corporations are done. Brian, they are plug and play. I'm telling you right now. My 3D printer was literally plug it in. I watched a 5-minute video. Done. I just hit print. Boom. It's done. A couple hours later. Uh, 3D printing does become its own hobby unto itself. There is no doubt about that. I will spend hours just messing around with settings, finding the optimal way to lay everything on the build plate to get as many models as possible. But it is very much plug and play. If you were Brian, if you were to buy a 3D printer right now, I'd go up to Waco, and within an hour, you will know everything I know about 3D printing and print yourself up some magnificent models for your games. I guarantee you, it's super easy. The problem is a lot of people that have 3D printers, they don't want to show you the quote unquote secrets, and you can find them. It's kind of hard, but you can find the information. Trust me, you'll want it. Elf Bay. One model I have seen is customer come in, place customer orders, and have them printed and come back for pickup. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. If my comic shop were to get a 3D printer and they asked me to do it, I'd do it because honestly, it's not a lot of work. Like literally, like I said, plug, play, turn it on, print, forget it, and go. I would love to see what it would take to 3D print Warhammer Titan. Nick Wolf, I can tell you what it takes to 3D print a Warhammer Titan. I have got, and I'm going to give you an idea here. I have got an Anycubic Photon Mono. It is the small introductory 3D printer by Anycubic. I love this printer. I've had it for almost 3 years now. I printed off, you see all these shelves behind me? And there's boxes underneath this table. Thousands of miniatures that I have printed out, and of course there's some that are purchased. You know. But for a Titan, I can tell you through certain knowledge, because I printed one, it took me, and again, because of my settings, I get 0 print lines, like none whatsoever. It took me, because of my small build plate, a total of 27 hours to print one Mars pattern Moorhound Titan. It's very easy. My friend is printing a Warlord. It's going to take a lot of time, frustration, and resin. Yeah, it did take a lot of resin. A lot of resin. Um, what scale did you print? 100%. 32 millimeter scale, I guess, is what they're considered. I've never been a scale guy. I'm sure that would be frustrating as fooge. No, not really. It wasn't. It comes down to the model file. Who designed the model file? I do not design models. I do not. Let me get that clear. I do not design models. Um, but yeah, 28 millimeter Warlord. Yeah, again, it's going to depend on your settings and how you set it up. Um, mine took mine was actually a shorter print than normal because I hollowed out most of the parts. If you don't know what hollowed out is, it's where basically you make the walls of your miniature about 3 to 4 millimeters thick. Everything else is hollow, so that way you save a lot of resin. He has 3 printers going on at once. I wish I could have 3 printers going on at once. That'd be insane. But yes, Nick, it's not really frustrating. The most frustrating part of it was getting the files, getting the parts to fit on the build plate. That was the most frustrating part. So I could get as many parts as I could on the build plate, so that way it would speed up the time. The biggest part was the carapace. That that sucker took me a while to print. I think that was the majority of the time, close to 8 hours just for that part alone. But that was like early on when I first started, like 6 months into 3D printing. Now it would take a lot longer because now I know what I'm doing and the detail I want in it. It would definitely take me at least 60 something hours to print it out because I wouldn't print a ton of stuff at once. Let's see. 3D printer and code at once. Yeah, okay, already read that. So, Nick, hopefully that answered your question. Let's see, do I have one? No, I don't have one. I think I already sold it. Yes, I did sell it. Yep, I sold it. I don't have it anymore. So anyway, what else is going on, y'all? Maybe next time I should put the chat delay at 5 seconds. Even at 10 seconds it seems to take a little bit too long. Let's see. What else? What else can we talk about? Hmm. Oh, here's something I could show you. Let me see if it'll. So this is a not Rogel door. I printed it from a buddy Patrick. So this piece, and yes, I know the little wing broke off the eagle here. I'm printing him up a new one because I hate sending people stuff that's broken. That was about a 12-hour print, but that was his arms, cape, base, everything. It was 12 hours. Elf bait. I've seen 3D prints used by companies that make physical models using STLs to do small, less marketable items and conversion bits for their plastics. Yeah, that's that makes a lot of sense business wise. If there's enough demand for it to cover the amount of hours that the artist is using to create said files. Now I know some artists that they can knock out some stuff within an hour, like full, highly detailed models within an hour. And it's, yeah, they're only getting paid 1 hour to do it. Company sells them for like $6, $7 for the bits, say bits pack. They're gonna make their money back. You're welcome, Nick. War Games Atlantic and Fit Tricks are doing it. Once you have a lot of it, you can remix it into new things easily. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've got there it's packed away some of my Cyberpunk and Star Wars stuff. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of STL files from Star Wars and Cyberpunk that I've mix matched to make custom figures. That yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. Once you have a lot of it, yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. An example would be things like civilians that everyone wants but doesn't sell well. War Games Atlantic made some camp followers that they could never sell as a box set. That what it says, camp? Yes, it says camp followers. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that about civilians. Um, that's one of those weird niches within a niche. The civilian. Um, because like I know, for fantasy you get townsfolk, which is cool, because you need townsfolk. But in modern, near modern, or future, getting civilians, I honestly never see people asking for that. Um, but yeah, 3D printing or 3D print files is definitely the way to go with that. I know I have some from Cyberforge. They're what are they called? Titan civilians. That yeah, if you saw them on a shelf in a box, they'd probably get passed up. But as a STL file, that probably didn't take too long to create because they're detailed, but they're not ultra high detail models, and they're all bits. Yeah, they absolutely sell a lot better. Honestly, I bought them, and I'll swap the heads out with stormtroopers and things of that nature. We both know there are those things that people always say they want that might sell a dozen copies, so don't make sense to make physical molds or cast minis. Oh, absolutely. In this market, no, it makes absolutely no sense. And there is, shoot, let me see. Now I gotta find one. Nope, not that one. By the way, all these minis, I gotta paint them up for the next week. Not like I want to say about 120. I can paint them up real quick for not this weekend, but next weekend's D&D game. So this is a red. I think it's a red slad from D&D. Um, this was an STL file. This resin, it's a Labs resin. Somebody gifted me with them. This stuff is just like Reaper Bones material. Not the new Bones USA stuff. I can't stand that. I can't stand the new Reaper Bones USA stuff. I really can't. But it's plastic, and I mean, this isn't like regular resin. Now those bottles are like $80 a pop. So if you're a manufacturer and like you said, you want to make something that there's a small demand for, and if you want to print them out, that might be something viable. I know Reaper is starting to do that to fulfill Kickstarters, which is odd to me. Oh, here's another one. I should have grabbed this. The Demo Gorgon. This is with that Amerilabs 3D print resin. Look, legs are not breaking at all. Gotta pay to play though. And I am not paying $80 for another bottle because somebody gave me that bottle. 3D printing make those things viable. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're absolutely viable. And STL files are, I'm just gonna say it, they're relatively cheap. I mean, seriously, you can get a like this. Where is it? Anyway, the pack that Santos, I think this is Santos or Paja. I'm not sure. I can't remember the name. The pack that he comes in is like $5, and it has 5 miniatures in it that I can print out as many times as I want. And then it also has them either solid like this, like the whole mini, or you can get it. You can use like separate parts. So it's like an endless supply of mix and match miniatures that you can get. Something, something, something. I don't know what this is. Like YouTube is flashing something at me weird.